Okay, guys, we are recording. So, like I said, we're going to be covering follow-up boss stages. And also, we're going to be going over the follow-up boss lead filters. So the filters that we have for people, I'm going to kind of walk you guys through the most important ones, the ones that I use to kind of look at leads in the database. That way, you guys will kind of have a little bit of a better understanding. If you have any questions, just let me know. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Before we get started, actually, is there anything that you guys have questions on in regards to stages or filters that you want me to cover in this? No?
I guess. Oh, like if you're showing homes, when is the like if you don't show homes for like a month or 2 months, when do you change it back?
Change it back? Okay, that's a good one. Cool. So like what we'll cover that for sure. And so like basically we'll go over the stages and like when you should put a lead into one and like when you should pull them out of one as well. That way we're keeping our pipelines fully up to date. So here we go, guys. So this is I just emailed this to you, all of you guys. You should already have a copy of it, and it's in your books, your training books, but you have another copy now. So this is our follow-up boss agent handbook. This kind of covers all of the stages, the tags, the smart lists that we have in follow-up boss as of today, which we did talk about yesterday in our meeting. You know, some of those things are going to be changing with our new lead initiative, but the stages will remain the same. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So it's the first thing that we have here. So there's a variety of different stages. This is all of them. The first stage is a lead. All right. And so this is basically all new people that are coming into follow-up boss. And it's designed only for new inquiries that you have not attempted contact on, you have not connected with. It's very important that you make it a focus to get all inquiries out of this stage. So this also, just think of this as like a new lead, right? We have not attempted to contact this person yet. Very, very simple, very straightforward. The next stage, also, you can also think of this as a funnel, right? From brand new lead all the way down to a closing. So the next step is the attempted contact, right? So this is someone that we are working to get a hold of through phone calls, text, and email, but we have not yet spoken to them. All right. Or we've not had like a decent conversation. I'm just going to say we have not spoken to them at all. And this does not include automated or mass text messages, emails, action plans. All right. This is like you actually tried to call them or you sent them a text message. Okay. That's when you would move the lead into this stage. Next, if they actually answered or they texted you back or emailed you back, you can move them to the spoke with customer stage. And so this is a customer you're speaking with or a client, but you haven't had a chance to meet yet. All right. So you have not met them. Once you've spoken to them, you could get a hot, warm, or cold tags, but I wouldn't worry about that at this stage because we're going to be changing all of this. So just pay attention to the stage. Don't worry about the tags. If you're talking to somebody but you have not met them yet, that's when you would move them to this stage. Next, after that, it's appointment set, right? So an appointment has been scheduled with the buyer or the seller. Sorry, guys, I'm getting one of our clients is calling. And you, it's an appointment to meet them in person or virtually, all right? So an appointment, like we define it, is a specific date and time to either get pre-qualified, to show a house, to do a buyer, presentation, go over the buyer rep and the home buying process, or a listing appointment. Right? This is not. They don't go into this stage for a follow-up call. Right? If they say, "Hey, call me back next week," that's not an appointment. Or call me back on Tuesday at 5 p.m. Even though there's a specific date and time, that's more of a follow-up call, right? There has to be a specific action that you guys are going to take at that appointment for it to count as an appointment. All right. Next is met with customer. Someone that you've actually met with in person or virtually to do one of those things that I just mentioned, or for a first appointment tour. So think of this as sort of like a Zillow, right? So your first appointment or tour. Think of this as like either the pre-qual or the buyer rep or the listing appointment, but also if someone called on a sign or a Zillow lead, or they say, hey, I want to go see that property. And so you go show them, like you drive out there and you show them the house. And that's it. That's the only thing you've ever done with this person. That would still be in the met with customer stage. Okay. The next stage after that is showing homes. So this is for customers that you are helping tour listings in person or virtually over multiple appointments. All right. So this is when you would move someone into showing homes after you've started showing them multiple homes. Not like on that first Zillow call or that first sign call and you just drive out there and open the door. Yes.
Okay, so I actually got someone who called me yesterday and I went out to show her a few homes. Now, what qualifies for multiple homes to have been shown to move her?
So someone just, is it like a sphere lead or was it like someone from the pond?
Someone just called my phone because I was on phone shift.
Okay.
I can't remember if it was Google LSA or which one exactly. I'll have to triple check. But she called my phone and she asked to see a property. I made sure it was available and I met up with her at the property and I showed her that one and I showed her two other ones and then I have another two to show her today. So that's why I'm like, what qualifies as
So that would
showings?
be showing homes because you're gonna go show her homes again today.
Yes.
Right. So she called you, hey, I want to go see that listing. So you showed up and you showed her that house. And then you also picked two more. Like that was a good job. Like you tried to show her a couple more. But if she ghosted you after that, she's not an active client, right? She basically just wanted you to pop the lock so she could go look at the house. But if now that you actually got her, right, now that you actually have her information and then you're going to continue to show her homes, that's when you would put her in that showing homes category, because what that's going to do is that's going to put her into your active clients list. So your smart list that says active clients, those should be all of the people that you have that are 30, 60, 90 days only, right? Those are the active people that you're working with. If like you get a sign call and someone just calls you out there and you just open the door and then they leave and they never call you or talk to you again, you don't want to keep that person as like an active client that you're working with all the time, right? Once they say, yeah, let's continue looking at homes and you schedule that appointment, that's when you're actually in the process of showing them multiple homes. Did that answer your question?
Great. I just wanted to get that clarification. Yeah, because I didn't know if it was like, if I showed her the one she originally called me for, but I ended up showing her two more that same day, would that also be considered like a multiple showing thing, even if I didn't have today's schedule?
So I would say that's still one appointment, right? She called to see one house and you just added a couple. That's still one appointment. I would say over, like the stage says, over multiple appointments. So once you set that second appointment to go look at homes, which you should try and do at the first appointment, right? After you see the home. Oh, you don't like this one? Okay, cool. When are you available to go out again, right? Oh, tomorrow? Perfect.
Right.
You move them into showing homes. Or they're like, oh, we'll call you. And then they leave. And you might just leave them as met with customer until they actually call you or you get a hold of them, right?
Okay.
But it's
awesome.
still
Thank you.
it's set, right?
What's that?
It's still doing just one appointment set, right? Because you can only do an appointment set one time per person, correct?
Per person per week, yes.
Per week, okay.
Yeah, so like if she
it's
set
one
that
appointment?
appointment for yesterday to go see the house, right? And then she kept that appointment, and then she scheduled another appointment for the next day to go look at houses again. She's not going to count that as like two appointments set with that
But if
person.
she does it next week, she can claim them again?
She could, yeah. So like next week, if they're not in escrow, that's how it's always supposed to have been. So you can set appointments because you are, right? They're appointments. Even if you're showing houses, if you show them houses this week and then you show them houses again next week, you're allowed to set an appointment on each person or each, each group of people, whatever it is, once per week.
Okay.
All right.
The same for like a pre-qual. Like if you do a pre-qual today and then a showing next week, then that would be 2 appointments.
It depends
Total.
on when you set the appointment. Like if you do a pre-qual and like it's Sunday, and then you say, let's go look at houses tomorrow, you don't get to count that as an appointment set on Sunday and Monday. Does that make sense?
But if it was a week and 1 day from then you would.
It depends on when you set the appointment. Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's not
yeah.
try to get too like cute with this.
Okay.
Also,
Cool.
I want to know, with the appointment situation as well, a pre-qual appointment, let's say they pre-qualed and that's the appointment, showing them homes, is that also going to count as another appointment if it's in the same week, or does it have to be 2 separate weeks? Because they're
No,
two
it'd be
technically 2 different
different
appointments.
weeks. No,
Okay.
it's not like one appointment type per person, right? It's just an appointment in general.
Gotcha. Thank you.
So you could set an appointment to get qualified, to show them homes, and a listing appointment all in the same person in the same week. It counts as one, right? It's one appointment per person per week. Doesn't matter what type of appointment. Cool. Good questions, guys. Anything else? Negative? Okay. Let's continue. Let me share my screen again. All right, so we left off on showing homes. So remember, like I said, that's over multiple appointments. All right, so you guys can always refer back to this list if you are unclear. Always come look at this first, and then if you still don't know, then that's when you can reach out to me or one of the other agents and find out, hey, what should I do with this one, right? And then we'll help you out. Next, we're going to get into some seller stuff. So listing agreement. So if you have a seller and they sign a listing agreement with you, but the home is not yet on the market, so think like coming soon stage, the lead needs to be in this stage, right? So the listing agreement is in place for you to list the home of your seller, but you haven't put it on the market yet. So the listing agreement, also AKA coming soon. Active listing is next. So this is exactly what it says, right? The home is active on the market. So it is not under contract yet. The status is active, okay? Then we go back to a buyer stage. So submitting offers. So a written offer has been submitted on a property for your client. So once you have someone that you've shown homes to, or maybe they want to write an offer on a property, once they go, well, once they do that, this is the stage that you need to put them into. All right. Next is under contract. So this is pending, right? So once you get them under contract, either on a listing or as a buyer, they will both, in that situation, they go into under contract. And then the next one, is closed. So the client has recently closed and will go on to a post-closing action plan. So this is just, once you close escrow, this is now what we like your past clients, right? All your past clients should have this stage assigned on them because they've already bought a house or they've already sold a house with you. Okay, next is nurture. So this is sort of like a one-off type stage. We don't know exactly where to put somebody at this point, right? So people with an unknown time frame or are not ready yet. This is always a good fallback stage if you're not sure where to put somebody. All right. So I'm going to come back to this one in just a second. I'm going to knock out these last couple, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about what Jaden's question was at the beginning. So a contact, this is a person who is unlikely to go through the sales process with you, but you still want to have their information in your database. So think about that. Like, we don't put buyers and sellers. We don't put them as contacts. I know it kind of makes it sound like someone who's unlikely to go through the process. Like, this is somebody who will never go through the process. Our vendors, our lenders, our home inspectors, Other agents, we'd put as a contact and as the stage. That way, we're not like calling them thinking they're a buyer or a seller, right? They don't get accidentally put into a pond somewhere or go onto some sort of action plan or something where they start getting texts and emails about, you know, buying and selling a house. Like that's our home inspector or that's another agent that we just closed a deal with. We don't want that. So anyone who's not a buyer or seller, but we want to store their contact information in our database, this is the stage we use. Trash.
Okay.
So,
Why does it include Sphere there
on the, let me see.
on the
here.
contacts?
Let me share it again.
See where it says vendors? It's right before that Sphere.
Oh, Sphere right there. You know, I don't know. We can really kind of just not worry about that. I would just delete it out or cross it out. So like, it's probably referring to like maybe people that are your Sphere that like, maybe they live in a different state or a different, and like they're not moving here. You know what I mean? Maybe like people that you just want in your database, but maybe they're never going to buy with you. Like we don't want them. We don't want them to get like buying and selling emails and, you know, action plans. We don't want Travis reaching out to them like, hey, do you want to go see this house? And they live in Florida. Like anyone like that, you might put as a contact. But if it's someone that's like your SOI and you could potentially work with them, I would utilize these stages up here. If there's like 0 chance that you will ever work with this person, but it's still somehow your Sphere, you could put them as a contact. But I don't see there's too many situations like this. What do you have though, Dave? Jaden?
So my brother-in-law, I see him all the time, but he like signed up for the website a while back. So I don't have to call him because I see him multiple times a week usually. So that's one of those where I don't need to have him in my list. So I have him as contact under there. So they're not in like a normal, like a hot lead. Because he's over at my house. I see him all the time. So it's not like a traditional lead.
So in that situation, so Jaden, what I would actually keep them in some sort of stage, maybe in the nurture stage or something, but just like make sure they're not on any type of action plan like that, because there's still a potential buyer or seller with you. Like if he ever buys a house or sells a house, I'm sure he's going to use you. So
Yeah.
It's up to you in that situation. Like you could keep them as a contact, but a lot of times like the contacts, they're going to get assigned to like the vendor pond. They're not going to be in your database, right? So the agents won't typically have contacts in their own database. Those will be assigned to like a vendor pond or like the outside agent pond where it's other agents. You know, we'll put them. We try to separate all those people out from your guys' lists. So it's up to you. I would probably keep them in my list as just a nurture and then just not have them on any type of follow-up plan. But you may decide like you want to send him, like when you do a mass email to your past clients or to your database that's like, hey, come to our client appreciation event next month. You may want him to get that. You know what I mean? Just as like a formal invite. So there's certain things that you might want them to get, or maybe you decide you want to start doing a newsletter every month or something, right? And you want to send that out to your past clients or your sphere of influence leads that are in your database, right? You would probably want him to get that. So there's different ways to do it. I would keep them in my list if it were me. Cool. Did that answer whoever asked that question? Was that you, Wava? You good? Okay. All right, guys, let's go back and finish this up. All right, so trash. So trash is a person who will never become business or send you business. So like a spam, solicitation, mass email, newsletter. So like people that reach out trying to sell us stuff. So please only trash a lead if it's a solicitation or spam or mass email. So bad leads, what you might consider a bad lead, can sometimes come back and update their contact information. I know Ylopo is actually decent at that. Like they get them to come back somehow. And someone isn't a bad lead if they don't have if they have real contact information and just don't engage at first. So they may just be a long time out from buying or can ultimately refer business to us, right? So we want to keep them in our database because there will be outside marketing like Facebook ads and Google ads and things that they would see if they're in certain lists of ours, right? So we don't want to trash people if they're an actual potential buyer or seller, they're just not responsive, or maybe we don't have the right contact information, leave them. All right. Do not contact. Now, this would be someone that you might, a lot of agents will put as trash, but it should go as do not contact. This is specifically if people tell you, do not contact me, right? We talked about that in the meeting yesterday, or, take me off your list. Any questions on that one specifically? So I can't see you guys. No?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Cool. So let's go back to nurture. All right. So Jaden asked a good question at the beginning. We only have a couple minutes, so we're probably only going to hit stages today. Jaden asked a good question, though, of when do you take somebody out of one of these stages if they like ghost us, right? So let's say you had someone that you were showing homes to, right? Or you were writing offers to. These people are what we're going to consider your active clients, right? They're going to go, like, if they're in that stage, they're automatically going to go into your smart list that says active clients, because that's your 30, 60 day, 90-day pipeline, right? Those are the people that we need to be hitting. When you guys are getting leads from Travis and them, like, those people are going to probably go into that list pretty quickly, right? Well, let's say, Jaden, you showed houses to somebody and they never responded after the last showing. You've reached out to them, multiple times, and they're just not responsive. That doesn't mean that they're gone forever. They still may come back, which happens kind of often, right? Like, people ghost you and then all of a sudden they hit you up like a month later. Oh, hey, sorry. Like I went to Mexico. Like, I'm back. Or like they just ghost you, like, and then they just call you whenever they're ready. So I would probably, after about 30 days, if you have not had contact with someone in 30 days, like they have, like, and this is after multiple attempts, right? This isn't like you tried to call them one time, they didn't answer, and then 30 days went by, you never tried to call them again. Like, you have to contact them, call, text, email multiple times, and they are completely unresponsive. After 30 days, I might move them to that nurture stage to pull them out of your active clients list, but still keep them in your list so that you can continue to follow up. And if it stays there too long, that's when you would be able to like kick that lead back over to Travis and be like, hey, can you continue nurturing this lead until maybe they come back one day? Does that make sense? Does everybody understand that? So when you're going through your leads, like if you got people that are in the submitting offers, I know, Teresa, we kind of looked at some of your leads, right? That, like you said, you hadn't talked to in a long time. They were still in that like submitting offers stage, or like in the showing home stage. We don't want to leave them there forever. After 30 days and multiple attempts at contact, if they have not been responsive at all, I would switch them to the nurture stage. That way we pull them out of your active clients list. We want your active clients list to be like, all right, Cheryl, you got 10 people in your active clients list right now. Like, I can with certainty say that you are probably going to open up at least half of those in the next 90 days, right? At least 5 to 10 escrows you should open up in the next 90 days. That's what we want that list to be. So that we can predict like your future results. I can like have a 411 with you and be like, all right, how many deals do you want? You want to do 8 deals this quarter? All right, well, you got 3 people, or you got 8 people, or you got 12 people, right? Like, do we have enough people or do we not have enough people? And then that'll kind of tell us what we need to do, right, in order to get you to hit your goal. All right, guys. Any other questions before we wrap this up? That is basically the end of my follow-up boss stage training. I'm going to be emailing this recording out to the entire team. And that way, if you guys ever want to come back and watch it, you can. You also have the follow-up boss handbook with all of this information that we just went over that you can also reference back to. And always, you can just, I always say, try to figure the answer out first and then ask, right? Always come with a potential solution before you just ask the question. You'll learn a lot faster that way. Cool. All right, guys. Well, if no questions, that's it. I'm going to stop this recording.